there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for President. But for him, no, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you. Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. So whatever you want to do, we can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament. Yes, honorable member. So it's never be scared to kill.
Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses. Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen. Okay.
I mean, it's in South Africa.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Wednesday, and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett and Shelly E. All right. Before we get into this, before we light this fire, do your part. Tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We're live here on YouTube and Rumble. And if you're on the go, catch us on Apple Podcast or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. So much to talk about tonight. All right, so we're going to start off, as you all saw, with that bombshell of a press conference between South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and President Trump. So, I mean, this was so unorthodox. President Trump confronted him about the brutal attacks and farm seizures targeting white farmers. And the media has melted down about this. Democrats have melted down about this. But I love it. I said it before, I'll say it again. President Trump is the most transparent president of our lifetime. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
First of all, I love that. Number one, President Trump just said, okay, let's show you the proof or show you what we're seeing as well, right? What I loved in a bad way for dark reasons is that this man, I believe in my never to be humble opinion, pretended like he didn't know what that was, like he had never seen or heard of such. Come on, the man in that, well, I think we're going to show that a little bit later, but he's the president of South Africa. This is part of it happening in his country, and you mean to tell me he doesn't know one of the people in the party literally calling for the destruction of the Boers and, you know, killing the white man or whatever he calls them? Come on, this reminds me of people in the U.S. media, how they pretend that they didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he was caught off guard. I don't know. Nicole, what was your thoughts on the exchange?
Well, I didn't think he was caught off guard. I think his handlers probably had a talk with him on that very long plane ride to get here. He just didn't have time to formulate any answers. So if you're watching the video, and I like to watch people's body language, he was smiling. He was jovial. He was jokey. Oh, it's not happening in our country. I don't know where you heard that from. Look, I brought your golf buddies. See, you like these guys who play golf. They play golf like you play golf. You know, you want me to give you a plane? I mean, it was ridiculous, the things that he said to kind of knock Trump off of his square. But when you look at Trump's body language, he's over it before this man opens his mouth. He's already leaning in. He's looking at him like when you're a parent and your teenager comes in late, but tells you it's not actually the time that you told him to be in. That incredulous look is what Trump is giving him. They could have had a really serious conversation about how to move his nation forward and to end this genocide or random killing of thousands of white farmers, whatever the South African president wants to call it. But instead of that, he came to play games. And so I don't blame Trump for being a little bit more aggressive with him than he is with other world leaders. But I do love that he brought receipts. I love that he was like, oh, really? Put the TV on. Let's take a look and see what it really is. I love that kind of transparency. I really do.
I do too. I loved it. And for the world to see. I mean, folks, many times these types of conversations happen behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. But President Trump is like, no, we're going to get all of this out in the open in front of the press. So how did the South African president respond? Take a look. This is clip 7.
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've always done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia, they're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless, it's valueless, and they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation.
Wow. So he wasn't letting him off the hook. Nicole, what is your response to that exchange?
Listen, I love it. So this is the kind of conversations, you're right, that typically happens behind closed doors. But since Trump was getting roasted over an open flame for allowing those refugees, I think it was like 48 of them, 49 of them, to come to the United States. And the press was like, oh, you know, he's racist, he's this, and all the ists came back out. I think he really did want the world to see what he saw, to have him ask this man the question and have this man say, well, we didn't arrest him because he's the minority party leader or whatever his reasonings were. And he did not have a good reason why this man was not under arrest. He did not have a good reason for any of the racial crime that's happening in South Africa. And because he didn't have a good reason, Trump was a little upset with him. He was a little heated with him. Just a little bit of irritation in his voice.
Yeah, it certainly was. Shelley, what was your thoughts on his response?
I thought he was bullshitting. I mean, I really believe that. You will not convince me that he has never seen nor heard all of those crosses and vehicles. Certainly that video, because that video has been out, if I'm not at least from what I've seen, more than a year, give or take, somewhere around that time frame. Mm-hmm. So it didn't just happen within the last week that maybe he missed it. Certainly, I don't believe that. But I think President Trump was perfectly correct to show the video, show what he's referring to, and let him how he responded. Mm-hmm. I personally don't believe his response. I think his reaction was sort of muted, kind of be neutral, if you will, because in my never to be humble opinion, that I don't know what the laws are as far as arresting people for speech or being a member of the party. I don't know what the laws are in South Africa, but you will not convince Shelley E. that he has never seen that video.
Yeah. And then Trump goes on and talks about why he's doing this. And this was a pretty stunning exchange here. This is clip 8. Take a look.
Genocide is a very strong word. I'm wondering if you can make up your mind as to whether you believe genocide is occurring in South Africa or you still have doubts. And if you have made up your mind, why invite President Ramaphosa here today?
Well, I haven't made up my mind. I hate to see it from the standpoint of South Africa, but also, I'm trying to save lives. I'm working with Russia and Ukraine. I don't have to do that. It's not our war. It was started by other people. It was helped along by our past administration. It would have never happened if I were president, but I'm trying to save lives, no matter where. Rwanda, I have nothing to do with Rwanda and the Congo, but I felt I had a very talented person in this administration, and I sent him there, and he did an unbelievable job. I think. We're going to find out, but he's done the hardest part of the job. It should happen. If I can save lives, I want to save the lives. If it's in Africa, that's great. If it's in Europe, if it's wherever it may be, and it's a very small investment to do, believe me, compared to what the consequences are.
I love that, and let me tell you why. Because the left and the media tried to make this be about race. They tried to make it say, because these are white Africans or white South Africans, President Trump is paying close attention to them because of that. And he just pretty much laid it out. No, he has helped people from all over the globe, all skin color, all ethnicities, all cultures. If he can, he intervenes. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Look, President Trump is correct. I think he's also calling out, if you will. He's bringing these people to the White House. He's letting them come here on our soil, and he's having the conversation. President Trump, not only is he a strategy man, a businessman, he knows how to upshine even the American media, because they want to keep this story suppressed as much as they can, because they only want to focus on the racial part of it. They only want to focus on the skin color. It doesn't matter to them that people are being slaughtered for their skin color. It happens to be in Africa. We used to call that apartheid. We used to protest things like that, or these around the country, around the world when they happen. But no, because the people happen to have whiter or lighter color skin, and they're in South Africa no less, then the American media in part, or even I would say globalists, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. Mm-hmm. They're just as evil. And again, I always try to use evil very strategically and for certain reasons, but they are just this is evil, and they are just about here. Okay, they're just about here.
Yes. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Well, it tells me they haven't learned anything from the years that they had to live under apartheid, right? Mm-hmm. So, in history, when you don't learn the lesson, you're doomed to repeat it. They are senseless when it comes to reasons why they're allowing this to happen. There's no reason for them to allow this to happen, except for they don't mind it. They don't mind it. Their hands are technically clean. You know, it's not us, it's these other people, but we're not going to do anything to stop it. And President Trump was like, it doesn't matter who it is. I need you to make it stop. I need you to make it stop. I think in that moment, you saw Trump's three big things: his compassion for people. You know, the people he says he's Hitler and he's evil personified, they're not going to report this because what he's telling Rafusa, South African president.
Ramaphosa.
There you go. That dude. What he's saying to that dude is, you know, my compassion for people is not contained just to the United States. My compassion for people is a worldwide thing. I don't want anybody to die unnecessarily in war or in genocide. And I love that he stuck by that word. And I love that he brought up Rwanda. I love that he called them on their shit to their faces. I absolutely love that. And you're right, Shelley. The mainstream media is not going to touch this because it doesn't fit their narrative. Thank God for channels like this one that's going to show people what it really is. And the White House who put that video up, I think, was epic too.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. And folks, this is why we need your help. We need every like as you all come in to the chat. Please hit that like button. It really helps to get this video out to as many people as possible. We want as many people as possible to see this, and you guys help us do that. We don't have the backing of these major networks and these major corporations and things. We're just, you know, a little independent podcast here, but we are truth seekers, and we always try to bring you the truth. Straight, no chaser. All right. So please hit that like button and subscribe if you're new here. This is a community of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. If that's you, you found your people. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. All right. So as we mentioned, the media has lost their mind. They have gone into full meltdown over this exchange, almost more so than the Zelensky confrontation that President Trump had a couple months ago. So I want to bring you this before we do. Want to acknowledge our super chatters here, folks. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Let's see here. Gary, thank you. Gary. Yes, with the $14 super sticker. Thank you so much, Gary. All right. And again, those super chats really help us to continue to put out conservative content. We have a major event coming up here in Maryland on May 31st. This is our second annual Informed Voter Power Series. May 31st, that's a Saturday, that's Memorial Day weekend at 2 p.m. This one is going to be focused on the young people, teenagers, college students, and the young adults. We want you to come out. This is going to be a great community event. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about political talk, economics, cultural, all this stuff that shapes your vote. And so it's geared towards the younger generation. As you can see there, Gen Z, it's going to be food. We're going to have giveaways, free admission, but you must register on Eventbrite. So right now we are, it may show that we are sold out, but if you put your name on the wait list, we will make room for you. We've had to increase the venue size because we've gotten such an overwhelming, we've got so many people have reached out about this. So we're really excited. So still go on Eventbrite, register. You will be put on the wait list, but we will make room. We're in the process of getting a larger venue. So again, that is May 31st. But this is the stuff we're trying to do. We want to inform our younger generation. Folks, the left is out there. They're in high schools. They're on college campuses. They have really, if you could give them one compliment, it's that they get out there and they energize the younger generation. We have to do the same. And we're starting to do it more, especially with organizations like TPUSA, with Charlie Kirk on the college campuses and stuff, but we can do even better. And we're going to start small, but we're going to do it this way. And so your super chats help us do these types of events. All right, we got
can you have them put up the Cash App as well? Someone in the chat has said, is there an alternative way to donate? So
yes, good. Yes, thank you, Nicole. Yep, we can put up the Cash App. We do get donations via Cash App. Those are very helpful to us also. So thank you so much there. And we did get, I think we had another super chat here. We were running low on production tonight. Laura, thank you with the $3 super sticker. Thank you so much. Yes. So, folks, we are out in the community as well. Again, this is not just a podcast. It is a movement, and we are out in the community spreading conservative values. So, yes, indeed. All right. We'll get that Cash App up for you guys soon. But you can go on Cash App. I believe it's $, Be More Pop Stars.
Yep.
So, yes. All right.
Scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Cash App.
Oh, good. Okay. Yes. Be More Pop Stars.
Be More Pop Stars. Yes.
All right. So back to this. Want to bring you what the media is doing. This media is such trash. Just from the whole, again, COVID scamdemic, the lockdowns, to the Biden lies, no one asked him questions. They didn't press him. And they're still doing the same stuff. Here they are here, CNN in clip 10.
Explaining that this is not true. What the videos show is Julius Malema, the far left opposition leader of South Africa. His party is called the Economic Freedom Fighters. And it also showed former President Jacob Zuma. What Julius Malema was singing, Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer, was an anti-apartheid song from the struggle against white minority rule in South Africa. They've explained that this is not a literal attack, call to attack and kill the farmer because of the historical nature of that. But it's been weaponized by groups in South Africa and increasingly by the MAGA right in the United States to essentially misrepresent what is going on in the country, Brianna.
It also of note, Larry, can you?
So first off, that doesn't even make sense to me. They say that the song has been weaponized when the song says kill the white people. What are they talking about, Shelley?
They're talking BS. That's what they're talking. They're trying to talk both sides. What the media largely represent, they don't give a damn, again, because of skin color. That's one of their starting points always. What's the skin color of the people involved? And then we're going to take the side primarily of those who have darker skin because they are always the victims. Number one. Number two, apartheid was in what, the 80s, 90s, whatever. So why is he still singing this song in the 21st century? That doesn't make sense. So that doesn't even make sense. And this reminds me of those Palestinians, if you will, who like to talk about killing the Jews or murdering the Jews, I'll say, slaughtering them, from the river to the sea and all these code words. And then people will come up and make up, oh, no, they don't mean that. They just mean this is, we want to live in harmony or whatever from the bullshit. I'm sick of these people. I mean, it's one thing. I'm going to put it in Judge Judy's language. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Okay? Just tell me it's pee. Just tell me you are pissing on my leg. Stop the foolishness. They are so racist. The xenophobia is really these people. But they want to make everybody else who's calling them out look like they are the bigots that they're trying to make them. They're still lying. They still will not and have not taken responsibility.
Yeah, Nicole, what's your response to that CNN pundit?
Well, it's typical CNN. Typical CNN. They're going to lie. They're going to cheat. They're going to steal. They're going to skew the narrative to fit what they want, right? And Shelley's right. If this were white farmers singing songs about killing black folks, let me tell you, CNN would have their pitchforks out and they would be like, everybody line them up. We should be at war tonight. Trump sitting on his hands. The narrative, if it were flipped, the response would be visceral. But here we are talking about people devoid of skin color, whether it's black, white, indifferent. If someone's being slaughtered just because they exist, the United States is going to intervene. It's what we do. It's what we've always done. When you take a look at the population of the United States, we've allowed millions of people from foreign nations to come here, even some who are technically not allies of ours, to come to this country because they were being harmed in their home nation. And we've done that historically. We're talking about 48, 49 people that came here, right? And CNN is losing their damn mind. But what was interesting to me is the guy who was reporting from Nairobi in Kenya was talking about the song. Oh, it's a song, like it's a lullaby. It's not even like from the river to the sea. The river to the sea, people could try to skew that, play with the language. But when you're literally saying kill the white people, that baby, you're not kidding anybody. That's not just a song. That's a battle cry. That's what that is. And to have hundreds of thousands of people singing this, like it's the latest Beyonce jam, was beyond reproach. And Trump was absolutely right for calling him on it. Absolutely right.
Can I say something else too?
Yes.
Again, this may be ancillary, but this is just how my mind goes. Let me say something I'm going to say to Black people in general, whether you're from Africa or the United States or any other country, you better get it together with this racism crap, with this, what do you want to call it, reverse racism or racism, whatever. Black people in particular need to get it together. This is wrong. This is vile. I don't care if it's a white person being racist. Of course, it's vile and evil, but certainly you cannot use the same methods and tactics that you have poo-pooed and that were wrong and that should have been put down. We better, I'm saying we collectively, we better get it together, because this is going to be the death of us. The death of us. Skin color, skin folk, what do they say? Skin folk ain't necessarily kin folk. Well, we ain't gonna have no kin folk because the world is sick of it. And even if they weren't sick of it, it would still be evil and vile.
Shelly. I was thinking the exact same thing today as I was watching this. I am so sick of this racial crap. I am so sick of it. And it infuriates me as a Black woman with a Black son, because people are getting tired of it. And what's happening is we are getting lumped in, and I'm going to say it, and if I piss anybody off, I'm sorry, with these niggery, ignorant people. And we can't tell, they don't tell us, you can't tell us apart from this. So they out here committing crimes out the wazoo. Then they're out here calling each other victims and put all this DEI and all of this, this racial idolatry and this racism and things like this. People are getting tired of it. Do not mix me up with this stuff. Don't mix my children up with this stuff, because I have to have a conversation with my Black son about two things. One, I have to tell him, who is a tall, athletic build, dark-skinned boy, that when you go outside, I don't want people to get you confused with these ones that are robbing and killing and all this type of stuff with these shiesty hats on. And he doesn't do that. But just looking at him, he can be looked like a threat. That's number one. I got to warn him. Then number two, I got to tell him, you got to be able to communicate very well, because you got these other ones out here, these other Black folk that's out here being racist and out here playing the victim and all this type of stuff, which he does not. And then he can be lumped in with that group, these leftist nuts. So we got we got two crowds to look out for. And it's making me sick. Exactly. I'm so sick of it. I am so sick of it.
Exactly.
Stop it.
Exactly.
They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop.
I mean, Nicole and I have daughters, and I understand, we hear this talk in the Black community and by and large about having the talk, particularly with Black sons, Black boys, right? We hear this all the time. And, being about the police, attacking Black men and killing Black people.
It's because these Black folk don't know how to act.
No, I'm saying, I get it. We have Black daughters. And so what we have to do, just as Black women, Black mothers, Black fathers, our children when we're trying to do the right thing, right? We're trying to do the right thing by our children. But you're right. We're being lumped in, if you will, from this big, mega, macro stereotype, okay? And it's as if, but not as if, people will, again, good or bad, you will see skin color. All of us see skin color. You can't hide it, right? So I get compliments all the time on my daughter. People will say, "Oh my gosh, she's so mature," or she still has a sense of healthy innocence and things like that, right? And then some people will joke, "I don't know where she got it from," like that, right? But the point is that the fact that our children they carry themselves differently, right? Mm-hmm. Carry themselves. My daughter will tell me, "Mom, I see these Black young people basically acting a fool." Like, she's like, "It's embarrassing." Mm-hmm. She's like, "What do I do?" So, and then when they find friends that they can have friends with the same values, regardless of the skin color, then you get people in our community saying, "Oh, they're acting white," or
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's a no-win situation. But the point of the matter is, the skin color, by making decisions, if you will, by skin color, or as if that's the primary thing, it needs to stop, because we are hurting ourselves.
Right?
Yes. I've said this before on the show. I've said it many times publicly. We have got to grow up. We can no longer be the screaming damn toddlers of this nation. We don't have that card to play anymore. When people talk about Black fatigue, I think Trey said something about it in the chat. Black fatigue is real, not only for white people, but damn, if you think they tired, what about us?
Right.
What about us? The people who go out here every single day. I do a ton of public speaking, and I hear this from people all the time. "Oh, I'm so glad you're not like, this girl I met at the store the other day, or this girl, I tried to give her a ticket and I ended up having to wrestle her to the ground." And I said, "Well, hold on. Just because my skin color is the same as hers, we don't have the same existence. We have not gone through the same things. And the truth of the matter is, if you're judging people solely based on their skin color, we need to have a bigger conversation."
Exactly.
Right? There are so many opportunities for us to separate ourselves from a certain type of demographic, black, white, indifferent. Everybody got a little bit of ghetto in their hood, every single body. Mm-hmm. But it's difficult. Shelley is right, with our daughters. Mm-hmm. KJ is right, with our sons. I'm an aunt to 19 nephews, 19. And there's not a moment of the day that I'm not praying for these young men. Exactly. Because they're up against the wall. They don't really have a place to turn. And I keep telling them, your help comes from God. Right. If a police officer asks you a question, answer the question. Give them what they ask for. We'll fight it in court if it's got to be that. But don't give anybody an opportunity to hurt you. And it's the same thing I'm telling my Black nephews about other Black people.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous.
Nicole, you're right. And see, when people approach me or my daughter and they say things, and I'm not saying that they intend to be racist. Okay, I'll give them that. But they'll say things like that. "Oh, you're different." See, then Mama Bear comes out, and then I'm called a bully because I'm going to correct them. "What do you mean that tell me? Are you only basing it because of how she looks, because she's a black girl?" So no, I correct them, and then I get all the flashbacks, and I gotta look like I'm ready to rip somebody. But again, I'm not going to tolerate it if the person looks like me or not. It needs to stop.
It does. And here it is right here in this next clip. This gentleman pretty much sums up what we're talking about. This is clip 9.
Part of why the civil rights movement has been so successful, and part of why those who have come after in terms of our leadership have been able to maintain a presence, is that Black people have always had a certain amount of moral currency that we have been using. And let me be the first to tell you, that's used up. White America has been watching us act like fools for a long enough time where any sympathy they may have had to our plight is completely gone. you're approaching a country that, forget hating black people or not hating black people, they just don't care. You can be talking about affirmative action, they can be like, I don't care. It literally is of no importance to me. I don't care about slavery. I don't care about segregation. I don't care about you. I don't care how many of you all go to jail. I don't care at all.
Yeah. Because we all, no matter skin color, have economic issues. We are all trying to fight for our families. We all want to live a prosperous, thriving life. It's this racial contention is exhausting. Exactly. It is so exhausting. And it's especially from Americans.
Yes,
exactly. And again, let's make sure our audience, because we know we got some of these so-called, I call them freeloaders, the blacks of America, FBAs. Nobody is saying that we don't have real issues to focus on, but skin color is not it. Particularly not in America with black. It's not it. And it certainly is not the primary whatever the issue is. I mean, I'm just saying it's not. Yeah. We do have serious issues that we need to focus on and get straight. But this ain't it, baby. This is not it.
I got to acknowledge our super chatters. We have a ton of super chats here. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see here. We have Democracy Dudes with the $5 super sticker. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Ian Comier with a $10 super sticker. Thank you. Ian. Jason Barber, an educator, with a $10 super sticker. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jason. Laura, Shelly E, well said, with the $5 super sticker.
Absolutely.
All right, and what's that? Naru Rusu 813 with the $5 super sticker says, have you guys ever heard of The Conspiracy of Silence, and the book, The Franklin Cover-Up, just the beginning of exposures to the corrupt? Wow, we got to take a look. Yeah, Shelly's writing it down. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate every last one of you guys. We also thank our moderators in the chat. You guys are awesome. We see you guys keeping the chat going. Folks, if you're just coming in, please hit that like button. It really helps to get our video out in front of more and more people. We thank you guys so much. Again, we are building a community here and of like-minded people with the same values. And so we no matter skin color, we're all fighting for this country, for our families, for our communities. So thank you all so much. So just to get back on this, before we close out this segment, again, we had the media responding to the press conference with President Trump and the president of South Africa. One thing I did want to say is, again, we're responding to CNN saying that this isn't happening. I don't understand how they can say that when the numbers don't lie. South African farm attacks are real, and disproportionately, they are attacking these white landowners. There've been documented attacks on white farmers, including torture, rape, murder. I mean, the list goes on. So I really don't understand what that guy from Nairobi was talking about there. But here is Julius Malema. Here he is from his own mouth saying that he has not ruled out slaughtering white people. This is clip 11.
Now, the way a sentence is structured, you say, we are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now. That means at some future date, we may call for the slaughter of white people. Is that correct?
Let's deal with that at that future date. I don't know what's going to happen.
So you're saying you are not ruling out that in the future you may very well call for the slaughter of white people?
It may not be me.
Could it be you?
It could be me, yes, but it may not be me.
Yeah, so it could be you. You could, at some future date, call for the slaughter of white people.
What will necessitate that?
You tell me.
I don't know. Why would I do that?
You've said you could do it in the future. Is that correct?
I can't guarantee that I can't do it or I won't do it.
So right now,
I'm not ruling out that possibility.
If I asked you to pledge to say, I will never call for the slaughter of white people, would you make that pledge?
I will do it with ease.
Make that pledge.
Why would I do that?
I'm asking you to make that pledge.
I
You said I will do it.
I won't do it.
Make the pledge.
I won't do it.
You won't do it?
Yes.
I understand.
All right. So, I mean, it doesn't get much clearer than that. And that was, again, Julius Malema. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He is the leader of the founder and president of the EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters. This is a political party in South Africa. Shelley, what's your thoughts on that? He was just like, I will not. I will not.
This is what you call running circles with the words, right? Did we show the video of him doing the dance?
No, we didn't do it. We don't have that.
Oh, we don't have that. Okay, because if you see that video with them, they almost like in almost like an orgy, if you will. This, they caught up. Like I thought, you see them in that big stadium, kill the boars or whatever they're chanting. You would think that they were, smashing grapes for wine. They were all, doing that little footwork. But this is just nothing more. It's racism. And the media, they are afraid to call it that. They don't want to call it that just because of his skin color. But he is calling for the death of a whole group of people based on skin color. We used to call that racism. We certainly have called it genocide. We certainly have called it murder, slaughter, wrong, whatever other adjective applies. But when it comes to these people, because they have darker skin in South Africa, people want to be hands off. Bullshit.
Yeah, Nicole, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than that.
I mean, at this point, they don't have a rock to hide under. They're just saying that the quiet part really out loud in his full voice. Will you commit now not to kill all of the white people? Of course I will. All you have to do is ask me, okay, well, will you commit? Of course not. Why would I do that? Like, okay. He's like talking to a 3-year-old who needs a nap. This guy is just too much. He's doing too much. But imagine, if you will, the media's response if this was Bibi Netanyahu who would say, no, I'm not going to kill all of the Palestinians. Okay, well, I could kill him if I wanted to, but I really am. I'm going to kill him if you don't make me commit. Okay, ask for the commitment. You know what? I might just have to kill the Palestinians, so I'm not going to say anything to it. The world would be on fire. The way our media is shaping this narrative in South Africa is disgraceful. By the same token, they're looking at world leaders, people who are at war, and saying, you're committing a genocide. They say, no, this is a war. They bombed us and we're getting them back, right? We're getting our lick back. Here are people who are not at war. These are farmers who are minding their whole business, who are being slaughtered. And now CNN wants to tell us that we're creating a genocide by reporting it. Is that what's going on?
Exactly.
This dude clearly said that he's willing to kill them all. He said that flat out.
Exactly.
Right. He did.
Nicole, I got one for you here in America. I think it was 2016. President Trump said something at a caucus meeting. He could kill someone in New York and not lose voters. And the media went ballistic.
He was killing New Yorkers. Yeah.
You're right. He said that hypothetically. President Trump has said many outlandish things. I'm not approving that or whatever. But the point is that the media went ballistic. You probably heard about that, him saying that for months. Not even a couple of days. You probably heard about it for months. So they are fake. They are fake, cheap fakes, whatever you want to call it. They are bullshitters. They are right below this level of evil, if you will, and they don't give a damn. They are largely racist, Marxist, communist, whatever, and they're gonna stand on that hill for a long time. And it's up to us to call them out. Stop using us. Stop using us, whether the skin color is darker or lighter. Stop using us for your evil, xenophobic, racist agenda. Because at least some of us three at least, and there are many more who are sick of it, and we are going to stop it and call it out.
And we don't want any part of it. We don't want any part of it. Want to acknowledge our super chatters. We have a couple more super chatters here, folks. Thank you so much. All right. Kung Fu CJ says black fatigue is real.
Yes,
all right. Yes. All right. Yanni says the racial tension and drama is running rampant in the WNBA. I am sick of it. When will this mess end? I just want to watch some hoops. I know
that's
it's
right,
everywhere.
I know that's
you
right.
You can't
Yanni.
do anything.
And
I was,
you know,
you say again?
These are women
Nicole?
at the WNBA.
Yeah.
These are women. It is so ridiculous that, having people play sports, to learn to be sportsmanlike, right? To be kind and learn to share and do all that kind of thing. And you have these grown women acting like this. And then the commentators ain't making it no better. It is ridiculous to me how this type of racial indifference is spreading across our nation and the world like a poison fog.
Yeah. And I think it's social media that has really amped up the spread of this. I think it's social media. These Marxists, this was one of the best things they could have found, because now they not only, I think they've used infiltrators and bots and people to and somehow the algorithm pushes them out much further than regular people, and they're everywhere. And so then they create this sort of social contagion of racial and racism and things like that. And it seems like it's spreading very fast, particularly to young people and young girls for the most part. We're finding, or at least the studies are showing, that boys have not been as affected as much because they aren't generally on social media as much as girls are. But these young girls are really affected by it. And this is how they've been able to push this whole sexualization on them at younger ages. Mm-hmm. They've been able to push this trans agenda. Now a lot of these girls think they're gay. And the list and the racializing of everything, the racialization of everything. Oh, it's exhausting. And speaking of that, we got to move on to Jamal Bryant. So Jamal Bryant, as you all know, well, you may not know, he is one of these social justice pastors. He is actually from here in Baltimore, Maryland, but he moved to Atlanta, Georgia. He took over former Eddie Long's church, New Birth in Atlanta, Georgia, mega church there. He's been a fixture in the Democrat Party for many, many years now. And he has called for a DEI boycott of Target. They're actually supposed to have some type of event, I believe this weekend, this Sunday at a Target in Georgia. But here he is again, continuing to push this racial idolatry and calling Trump actually names in this. Take a look. This is clip 1.
You once said black people voting for Trump are having an identity crisis. Yes. I think it was on the Breakfast Club interview that I just was watching. They referred to it. And transparently, I voted for Trump.
Yes.
Does that mean I'm having an identity crisis?
Are you black?
That's a hard question. I'm mixed.
Yeah,
and that's even something I want to dive into.
Mixed between what and what?
Yeah, black. So my dad's Trinidadian.
Yeah.
And then my mom's Irish.
Yes.
So I've kind of even been confused about how to answer that question.
Yes.
I don't mind either way.
Yes.
But sometimes I know when you're mixed, they like to say that you're...
I call it a identity crisis because I think it's voting against self-interest. As a black person, I don't know how a black person who identifies as black or Trinidadian would say, how do I vote for a person who calls all immigrants criminals and monsters and rapists? How do I support a person who is able to commandeer evangelicals in America and say, hey, I'm agree on 2 issues, same-sex marriage and abortion. Anything else outside of that in terms of ethics or morality we'll do away with. And so this evangelicals who trumpeted for Trump can't find one time since the election, November 4th, that he's gone to church. Not one time. But this is a return back to God. This is a revival in America, and the fearless leader didn't do it.
Wow. Oh my gosh. My blood is boiling. All right. I want to get you ladies' response to this. First, I got to say, identity crisis? It's woke pastors like him who have identity crisis, trying to be both a preacher of the gospel and a political attack dog for the Democrat Party. You can't serve God and serve the DNC as he totally does. Shelley, what are your thoughts on what he said?
Jamal Bryant is a Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton combination wannabe. That's what he is. That's all he is. He is a charlatan, if you will. He's still trying to pimp these people. And I heard this, and he told that guy it was identity crisis, and black people shouldn't vote for someone who calls all immigrants criminals. First of all,
lie.
He never said that. He
never said
that.
It.
In that speech, I think it was in Charlotte, he said some of them are drug dealers, murderers, things like that. Some of them. That has been debunked so many times, okay? That's number one. Number two, let's debunk some of these preachers, okay, that steal and pilfer from their congregation. How many people in his congregation make more than he does? Or how many people in his congregation with this identity crisis that look like him, how many of them get all the gifts and the largesse and the cars and the coats and the scholarships that he may get for his family? How many of them do that? No, this Target boycott is a farce, And the third thing, he's doing it, I think, the 25th in honor of George Floyd's death. Why do we always honor the worst of our
exactly
of our time? Why? And not only that, Memorial Day is for those who have served our country and died in service to our country. What the hell did George Floyd do? As a matter of fact, he almost stabbed a pregnant woman. Okay, I mean, if anything, he sniffed out or shot up maybe whatever the drugs in his veins, and that led up or contributing factor to his death. What the hell did George Floyd do except help to tear down the communities where he may have lived? What did he do? A boycott in honor of George Floyd. And I bet you, even if they boycott, raise money, not one of the communities where the types of George Floyd are active throughout the whole Black community, not one of them will receive a dime of that damn boycott or those funds that they might raise. Jamal Bryant, full of it.
Yeah, Nicole. I mean, you as a Trump voter, are you having an identity crisis?
No, I've never had an identity crisis. You know, I was born Black. I've been Black my whole life, and I intend to stay Black. And the crazy part about it is, if we're talking identity crisis, he may be the one who does not know who he is. And if I were him, I'd stop playing with God. I'm gonna just put that out there. I would stop playing with him, because see, there's a difference between favor and grace. And when you do the wrong things and you get away with it, and it gets good to you, and you get to sit there with your Gucci loafers on and your expensive glasses and pontificate about things you have no idea about, because I don't think this man's ever been on the inside of a Target, at least for probably the last 10 years. What about the 10,000 or better Black people who work at damn Target? What about their paychecks? Are you going to bring them into your church and cut them checks for their year's salary that you're disrupting? Is that what's going to happen? Or is it, they're just going to have to be left out for my reasoning? George Floyd is long dead, resting in his grave. There's no reason to memorialize that man. None. We're going to leave that where it is in the past. You got problems with Target? Then hear me. Don't shop there. Take your butt to Walmart. There's plenty of other big box stores where you can get your things from, but don't ruin the economic opportunities for Black people around the country because you got to be in your very expensive bonnet, sir. Let's not do that. Can we think about someone other than himself? I don't think he can. At some point, God's grace is going to run out for him. It's going to run out, and he's going to have to answer for all this foolishness that he's doing. And it's going to be a humbling day. And you know, I don't want to make fun of the people who follow him, people who willingly give him money. But I would have to take a hard look at my budget and see if I could afford some fuck off money for this asshole. Because that's what it would be. That's precisely what it would be.
You mean to tell me there's no one even in his church that he could honor? I mean, really? That he could find? You can't make this up. This is not what the church was supposed to be for. Granted, I know there's a history of the church being closely aligned with the civil rights movement. Good, bad, or indifferent, whatever your thoughts may be on that. Okay, I get it. But what Jamal Bryant is doing, he's still pimping and pillaging the church, the people in his congregation. I'm going to say it again. I haven't said this in a while. Here's my alliteration. Progressive policies pulverize the people they purport to protect. That's exactly all he's doing. Nobody in his church, except for Jamal Bryant, is going to get the notoriety or whatever you get. I want to see the fundraisers and see how it's distributed.
We know he doesn't. Mm-hmm.
Let me get my little handbag out to see if I can find something in here to give him. And he ain't got nothing coming. I am so sick of people taking advantage of God's people. That will get my fire up. I channel my inner Shelley, because here are people who are looking for help, looking for peace, looking for salvation. And he's stumping for the DNC, talking about political issues. You can't tell me for 1 second that you're a man of God, but you'll stand next to people killing babies in the womb. You cannot. There is no reckoning for that. There is absolutely no reckoning. And if you want to know about Donald Trump going to church, here, let me spill a little tea that's not public knowledge. The church came to him. There are many prayer meetings at the White House. Many, many. And maybe we should get him on the invite list. Maybe that's what needs to happen.
He wouldn't go.
Alveda King runs the faith ministry for the Trump administration.
Yeah.
They had an event a week ago.
Yeah.
Packed.
Nicole, you said it. Jamal Bryant, he's supposed to be giving them salvation, and instead he's giving them George Floyd.
They've shown at the White House these packed, as you mentioned, Nicole, church services and faith-based services. It's a beautiful thing. We didn't see this over the last 4 years, but like you mentioned, they have invited faith back into the people's house. But this man knows nothing about it because he doesn't have a Holy Spirit, nothing in him. And this is what we're talking about. I mean, Jamal Bryant, all he does, he uses his platform to preach victimhood, racial resentment, and leftist talking points. This is what he does. And we know this. Again, he's from Baltimore. His church here in Baltimore, the community around it was rotten. It was dead. It was nobody. He had a huge church, and it was in the middle of poverty. And I remember when I went one time, maybe two, when I was in college, it was the first church, and this was many years ago. It was the first church I'd ever been to that had ATMs in the church. I'd never seen anything like that before. This was before we had, everything was digital, but people would go up and use an ATM to give their donation. I was shocked. I'd never seen anything like it.
And he not only him, other churches, there's an ATM line, there's a credit card line, and there's an envelope cash line. Come on down. The price is right. Come on down to the pulpit and bring your tithes and offering and give them to the Jamal Bryant types, because they're not going to the mission and the work of the Lord.
No, not at all.
That bothers me to no end, because
it does.
It really does. His decision to be who he is, and that's holy for him. But the people who are coming to him seeking God, that is the part that is unforgivable. That is the part that's unforgivable.
Yeah, well, when you are someone that God places in leadership, and I won't even say God placed him there, but when you are someone in leadership and you are leading massive amounts of people to the wrong way, you are gonna have some. You will see justice. God will get you.
He gonna stop
Yeah, for
playing
that.
with them. See,
Yeah.
Girl, don't get me
You
started.
don't play with that. And the Bible talks about it in Matthew. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. In other words, they look holy, preach nice, all these good sounding messages, but their hearts are full of self-interest and deceit. And he is exactly that by definition.
Exactly. That's the one thing. Again, Christian, whatever your religion may be, you don't play with that part. You don't play with it. There are believers of all different degrees, levels, wherever you are on your path. But if you are a preacher or a pastor, you don't play with that. And you're right, Nicole, that burns me up when you see pastors, preachers taking advantage of people who are in need, whether it's physically, spiritually, certainly spiritually. That is it's beyond disgust.
Right. And just to put a button on this, when we see, this is why they want so many, I'll say encourage. This is why they encourage single motherhood, because many of these churches are full of single mothers now. And they are not trying to do anything about that. They don't encourage marriage. They don't encourage biblical marriage and things like that. They're pushing you see what he's talking about, abortion, and he doesn't preach against that kind of stuff. But they know that women are easily manipulated by a male preacher like that, because most women, whether they say it or not, or whether they choose to admit it, they want a man. They're looking for a man. They're looking for a male leadership. And so when you have that pastor, it's sort of like, not a boyfriend, but it's that male. It's sort of like that man, the male companionship, the male there that's, I don't know, what I mean? That they're looking to say
looking for the leadership. They want, what they want is healthy, biblical, wise leadership. That's what they want. Right. Okay. Even, take out the emotional attachment part. I know that happens, but they want that. Many of them want someone to help them raise, quote unquote, their children, right? They want that guidance for their children, particularly their sons, but certainly for their children. But when they get the Jamal Bryant types and others who are, again, spiritually abusing them, then you have this vicious cycle that really keeps them basically impoverished.
Exactly.
And emotionally bankrupt and spiritually bankrupt from the person whose job it is to feed them. Don't call yourself a shepherd when you're pushing all the sheep off the cliff. Come on. This is ridiculous. Absolutely obscene.
It is. We have some super chats here, folks. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate you. All right, let's see here. Kung Fu CJ says this bonehead doesn't even preach the gospel. Absolutely.
No, he preaches George Floyd.
Chadwick says abortion and same-sex marriage are two huge things to agree. For the $5 super chat. Yeah, he said it. I couldn't believe he said that. I couldn't believe he said it. But they're not even hiding it now. They're just
nope. They're saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying it every day, and the more they say it, the more American people inch away from them. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is. And speaking of that, that takes us to Governor Wes Moore. So, folks, we have been talking about Governor Wes Moore, the Maryland governor of Maryland, here in Maryland, where we are. For several weeks now. He has been very prevalent on the national stage recently because we know that he has national aspirations. He is a huge contender for president in 2028. He was on The View a couple weeks ago. He was, I think he was on some type of commission for governors in the country. This guy's been all over the place. Well, right now he was just recently on a podcast where he was being interviewed, and he went in on President Trump. And so we want you guys to take a look at this. This is what we're talking. This is the guy, I think he's probably the front runner right now for president for the Democrats for the primary. So take a look at this. This is clip 3.
Here at the airport, I'm about to board my flight for San Salvador. The goal of this mission is to let the Trump administration, to let the government of El Salvador know that we are going to keep fighting to bring Abrego Garcia.
He said he was not able to make that happen. He said, I'm not interested at this moment in taking a tour of CCOT. I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. Trump administration is lying about Abrego Garcia.
This is why independent media is so important. Thanks to people like you, patriots who love America and stand for truth, we're making a difference. Together, we've turned them off, called them out for their lies and propaganda, and held them accountable for their disdain for God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans like us. But we can't stop here. It's time to take action with our dollars. Let's make 2025 the year we double down on our commitment to values-driven choices. Vote with your dollars. Support Made in America. Back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. We found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click Yes, I Want to Make the Switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. Let's support businesses that share our love for this country. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change.
What's up, guys? This is Giovanni, co-founder of Metro Conservative Media. We are the definitive home for the urban conservative. You think you got what it takes? Go to metroconservativemedia.com and click Join the Movement now.
You realize that they are not interested in governing. They're interested in destroying. And I say that because if you really wanted to address, for example, the issue of immigration, then actually what you should do, particularly because you have the Senate and the House, pass comprehensive immigration reform. Because you actually have the votes to do that right now. Yeah. You have the votes to do something that people were calling for, people voted for, was something that was important on people's minds, and that you actually could probably even get some coordination, in some cases, even from the Democratic side, saying, hey, some of these things make sense. Like, you actually have the power to do that.
Trump can bend the party to his will. So
100%.
If this was comprehensive immigration reform and it was some of the things that he wants, obviously we would disagree with probably large elements of it, but he could bend the Republican Party to his will.
100%. He could pass comprehensive immigration reform if the goal was saying that we have to get immigration reform done. But you know what he's doing? He's showing his hand. That's never what this was about. This was about xenophobia. It was about elections. It was about making people scared of the other. And so instead of doing things like working with the speaker and working with the majority leader, both of whom are Republicans right now, and putting together a comprehensive immigration reform package, what do? You weaponize ICE.
Okay, so we got to get into that. Nicole, I want to start off with you. What is he talking about? Specifically about the immigration comments he made.
So what he's asking is for President Trump to take his foot off of the gas. And because he well knows in our one big, beautiful bill, there is money for immigration. America does not need immigration reform. We need to enforce the law that we have now. Now, see, his little play on words was very interesting. He says, well, if people voted for it, some people like it. And even on the Democrat side, he may get some. We got immigration problems right here in Maryland. What's your problem, bro? What is your problem? It makes me crazy to see him actively auditioning to be vice president of the United States, not the president, vice president. The presidential frontrunners aren't going to come that hard for Trump. Trump is still very popular, but people auditioning for VP will come out swinging for the fences like he just did. But immigration reform is not something we're looking for. What we want to do is get all of the illegal aliens out of the country, and then we can have that conversation. What we're not going to do is have that conversation while we're still being taxed to death to pay for their health care. The big beautiful bill takes care of that because they're automatically kicked off of the Medicaid rolls. We're not wanting to spend a bunch of money in emergency room care for them. We're not wanting to spend a bunch of money on food stamps for them. We're not wanting to spend a bunch of money on housing for them. We need them gone. And then we can have that conversation as a nation. And he well knows that because we need them out of this state in a hurry. Absolutely out of this state in a hurry. Montgomery County, which is a mixing pot of people from all over the world, has seen a dramatic drop in people who were here illegally. Dramatic drop. Some people are self-deporting. Some of them are running to Massachusetts to hide. Whatever they're doing, it's almost lovely in places where it used to be the barrio. It's almost lovely. So he really needs to take a few lessons from Trump.
Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
I thought he sounded like Shakespeare. Told by an idiot, sound and fury signifying nothing. Okay. He's excellent at all of these words and wordplay, and you don't know what the hell he's talking about. What does he mean? Who is this they? They're trying to destroy. Well, it must be the left, because every time you look, that's all they do. Destroy, destroy, destroy. We have had at least two comprehensive immigration bills, if you will. One in 1986, and I think the other was 2005 or 7 that didn't pass. But both of these bills have included provisions to make illegals somehow get amnesty, which many people, conservative, did not want. Okay, the 86 bill passed, the other one did not. But we're sick of having all these carve outs for people who come here illegally, and we have to come up with a plan to make them legal. Well, the legal aspect, the legal way is to apply for a visa, a green card, whatever it may be, asylum in your own country. Okay, unless you are the boat people coming across during the Vietnam era, and you got to get out real fast, and then you come to the border. Wes Moore is full of it too. Everybody's full of it tonight. I'm just sick of it. Everybody's full of it tonight. Okay, but this is nothing but lies. And Maryland, like you said, Nicole, I think we have another illegal that's famous for being in Maryland. Maryland has all these people here. Another one, the one who killed Rachel Morin, what's his name? Garcia, this family man from Maryland. And there's another one out there, I can't think of his name. But Maryland is being destroyed. Nobody destroys like the left, because they damn sure don't build up anything.
I want to say this. I was on a podcast or a PBS show a month ago, and these leftists they want to blame everything on President Trump, and he hasn't even been in office for 6 months. He's done a lot, but he has a huge job to undo a lot of damage the Biden administration just done. He hasn't even been in office for 6 months. So you have Wes Moore sitting here talking about, what Trump can do. He has both houses and he can get immigration. He has only been in office for less than 6 months. He's trying to get through this budget right now. Okay. We give him some time. But what about you? What about Biden? Instead of getting immigration reform done, he let in millions on an unprecedented level of illegals into the country. So now what President Trump has to do, what Biden didn't do, as you mentioned, Shelley, Nicole, he has to enforce the law. He has to get these illegals out as he can, which is many people have said he's not going to be able to do. There's no way he's going to be able to undo what Biden did. But he's trying the best he can. But they just want something to say. They want someone to blame instead of blaming the person who was in office for the last 4 years.
They don't want to play him because that's their meal ticket. They love it. All these people come in, flood our country, flood the states, because that's their way to beg for more money and to justify all of this excessive government spending. They were banking on Kamala Harris winning. That's what they were banking on, because that way the gravy train was, they can say we need more millions of dollars or billions to support this and supply this. Again, nobody's destroying except for the left. Wes Moore is telling lies, and he does it so well. And these people eat it up again. Why? Because they don't want to challenge him because he's a black man. That's why. They love it. He sounds good. He looks good. And he's saying absolutely nothing. At best, he's saying nothing. At worst, what he's saying is are lies, and they're going to continue destroying our state.
One of the things that I wanted to point out was, Wes Moore talks about Trump having the House and the Senate. Well, hell, so does he. He has that here in Maryland. He has a super majority. He can pass whatever he wants to pass. But I'm not going to talk about that reparations bill before we get there. I'm just saying.
Right.
Literally drink my tea from my Pop and Politics mug, which you can get by going to www. I'm making fun of KJ, popandpoliticslive.com.
Yes, thank you, Nicole. Yes, please, guys, check out our merch store. Again, you can go to popandpoliticslive.com, click on the shop button, and you can get t-shirts, mugs like the ladies have here. You can get sweatshirts, hoodies, all kinds of stuff with cool sayings and messages on them. Right. That's one of my favorites. Not black, not white. We're American. Don't let them divide us. Absolutely. And so there it is. And, speaking of governors, Andrew Cuomo came out and he blasted the Democrat leadership recently in an interview. Before we get into this, I want to acknowledge our super chatters. Kung Fu CJ said, "You ladies are on fire tonight. Thank you so much." Yes, indeed. Laura, KJ, Mr. Smooth Operator. Right. Yeah, he is. Jessica is a new member of our Freedom Seekers Club.
Welcome, Jessica. Welcome.
Yes, welcome. And this is another great way to support the channel. Become a Freedom Seeker. You get cool perks as part of our Freedom Seekers Clubs. Thank you so much. And again, welcome, Jessica. All right. And before we go to let's go to what Andrew Cuomo said about the Democrat Party. This is clip 2.
And that far left is so intense and so active and so strong, you better not get on the wrong side of them, because they will threaten you, and they will threaten you in a primary, and they're very strong in a primary because you have that low turnout, and they are the activists. So it's a paralysis. Unless it's perfect, right? The perfect is the enemy of the good. Unless it's perfect, we're not going to do it, and we're going to side with the advocacy community opposition whenever we can, and we get absolutely nothing done. And you see a deterioration of conditions, and people say, why? And you're all Democrats, and I went to Los Angeles, and all I saw were blue tarps everywhere, and homeless living under bridges, etc. And I'm afraid to walk down the street. And it's all Democrats who are in charge. And there's no one else to blame. It's you. And you want to point fingers internally. That does nothing for me. It's still you. And that's what you have to fix.
Woo! He's telling on them, and that is a New Yorker who is saying he was afraid to walk through the streets of California. You know it's bad. All right, Nicole, what is your response to that?
Listen, again, they are falling apart at the seams. All of their closely held, deep, dark truths are being said out loud by people with famous faces. They're going to have, if from a party perspective, they need one, better leadership. 2, they're going to need some kneecappers to beat people back in line, because everybody is spilling the tea. They're out here telling everything. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right about everything he said, especially being challenged in a primary. I don't think people understand how big of a threat that is to an incumbent person, because as an incumbent person, you know, you're still in Congress. You're still doing the job that you're supposed to do, that you were elected to. And the person that they're running against you in this primary that has very much fewer, lower voter turnout is at home campaigning his face off. So, you know, you're up against it. You're really up against it because you're expected to continue to lead and do those things and fundraise for the party. And that very same party has volunteers out there trying to steal the seat out from under you. So it is a very big threat politically when someone says that they're going to primary you, but he's telling the truth, and they all are losing face all over the place. They're losing face.
Yeah, but I mean, my question to you, Shelley, is are these people, because we are seeing more people from the left come out against their party. You know, they're calling things out that they haven't called out before. Some people are calling them flip-floppers. You know, do we believe them? You know, are they really, they're calling their party out, but are they going to change the way they vote? And so in this next clip, this is Vinny from the PBD Podcast, and he's saying a lot of the stuff the way I feel about these new voices from the left that are they're calling out people on the left, but are they really changing? Are they really going to change the way they vote going forward? This is clip 4. Take a look.
Now let me spend the rest of my time getting into the Patrick Bet David folks, all right? This is before we get to your tweets. I want to address some sound that I heard from the Patrick Bet David podcast regarding yours truly and my chances as a potential presidential candidate. Listen to this, please.
I like Stephen A. I like the sports talk, and you know, he's a great freaking. He's the best in the game.
You're not with it. You're not.
I'm not
just
buying,
because he didn't vote for Trump.
Not vote. No, it's the flip flop of every single person.
You're calling Stephen A. a flip flopper.
Every single one of these guys that were on the left, every guy's girl. Now, from the Chanks to the Stephen A's to the Chris Cuomo's to all these people, I'm not buying it at all. Okay, and you say this all the time. It's the market. What does the market want? They're shifting because of the market. Listen. With all due respect, I'm not buying none of that shit from none of them. Okay, because they were still on Kamala. They were still on Biden. They're still on that anti-American bullshit sentiment. Because if you want to put in people like Biden and you want to put in people like if you voted for Kamala Harris, what the hell do you even stand on? What was your thing? Just not Trump. So it just shifted. All that Trump hating, he's the worst, he's Hitler. I'm not saying Steven said this, but all of them were anti-Trump. We've been saying Trump is this guy since when? Since 2016. We've had this guy's back. And it's not just blind loyalty, Tom. It wasn't that. It was the proof in the pudding. He came in with Russia collusion. Obama and all these guys freaking spying on him. He had all this shit. He had COVID. He had all this stuff. A Russian asset, all that bullshit Putin talk. All right? And then now he's back. Everybody voted for him, and they're all changing their tune because they have to.
All right. Shelley, I mean, do you agree with Vinny there, or you think these people really are going to change their voting habits?
On November the 6th, 2024, after the election, I posted on my social media that I was not ready to forgive and I was not ready to extend grace. Okay. And I said that for a reason. Now, people can change. We've changed on some things, certainly from when we were registered Democrat. Of course, we can change. I take people, if you say you change, fine. But Vinny is right. Where is the proof? You know what things I'm still waiting for? And I might be waiting, I might be in my grave before I get it. But they have not apologized to conservatives for being right. They haven't apologized to President Trump, like he said, coming down that gold escalator. The media were after him, and he had not even won the election yet, or certainly soon afterwards. They have not acknowledged any of that. They're saying the right things, but we've been saying these things all along, even about the people, if you want to talk about skin color, that look like us, our communities, California, Maryland, wherever, New York, we've been saying this. Andrew Cuomo basically gave us his finger, particularly during the scamdemic. So did people in Maryland, even our own governor, former Hogan, okay? So these people, they're saying the right things, but I want the apologies. I want the acknowledgement specifically to say how we were wrong. The media, they're all coming out now because of this book. Jake Tapper and the Axios guy, they're taking all of these accolades as if they did such this wonderful thing. No, bullshit. You're saying the right things, but you have not acknowledged your errors and you have not apologized. You haven't said the words, Trump was right. Conservatives were right. 99% or whatever. We were censored. We were, scoured. We were called all kinds of names and all manner of evil. We were even told that we were getting people killed and setting them up to get COVID and die and all this stuff. We were blamed when you had people in nursing homes dying and dropping like flies from these policies. You had people who couldn't go to work because these policies, they just carte blanche closed down people's jobs. People couldn't even go to the hospital because they had all these masks on. Everybody was scared and scared of their neighbors or whatever. I want the whole damn kit and caboodle. I want the apologies from A to Z. Unless you say it, I'm just going to say, okay, this is what you're saying. You're saying the right things, but we're not done yet.
Yeah. Before I get you in on this, Nicole, I wanted you to respond to Stephen A. Smith's response to Vinny. This is clip 5.
You act like we had to have voted against Trump for the specific reasons that you're articulating. The border is a primary issue with you. We understand that. So how could anybody possibly vote for Kamala Harris? Well, what if their issue wasn't the border? What if their issue was avoiding chaos? What if their issue was not wanting a president in office that was willing to pad his own wallets and his own coffers while being the statesman that sits in the presidency of the United States of America? What if the priority wasn't safety in the streets? What if the priority was that they were for woke culture? There's a bevy of reasons. Why are you acting like everybody has to be a monolith, like they have to be of one set of thinking and of one mind in order to vote this way? I watched the whole episode with you.
All right. Oh, so Nicole, you understand what he's saying? He's saying that what if the issues that matter to these people were issues that they feel Kamala Harris was addressing. And so that's why they would say they would still vote for Kamala, I guess. You explain it. I know you, Nicole. What do you think?
She didn't run on anything. She ran on I'm not Trump, right? So if that was your issue, not electing Donald Trump, don't come over here now. Don't sit on TV and pontificate about how much you appreciate what this president is doing, but behind closed doors at your very liberal elite parties, I can't stand that man, but I got to say what I got to say to keep my ratings high. Let me tell you, Donald Trump voters looked at this presidential candidate, and we don't have to agree with him on 100% of the things. I don't agree with nobody on 100%. Half the time, I don't agree with me on 100% of the things, right? But what we agree with him on are core values and issues. I understand coming from the Democrat area, you guys don't really have that. So let me explain how this works. There are certain things that conservatives just won't do. We just don't stand by and let that happen. And that's murder and death, except for in times of protecting ourselves, right? So if you're sucking babies out of people's wombs, so much so that you've got dancing abortion pills and free abortions and vasectomies at your convention, you're not one of us. You're not one of us. You're what we call a Johnny come lately. And Vinny had it right. There are certain things that are marks of conservatism. And if you don't have those things, you flatly are not a conservative. I don't care what you say. You want to be on Team Trump now? Listen, not everybody can get on the bus. Some people have to be outside and be a cheerleader. And Stephen A. is one of those people. He flip-flops a lot. He vacillates between what he thinks is going to get him more clicks and views and what he might actually believe. But we'll never know where he really stands, because can you really trust a traitor? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. And for me, if you woke, you're not one of us. Woke is not conservative. I don't want anything to do with woke. If you're one of these people that view everything through the lens of race, if you're one of these people that believe everything begins and ends with slavery, everything starts with racial idolatry and everybody's racist, and you on this gender ideology, and you believe that feminism is women be able to that you got to believe in porn and all that stuff. If you on that train, you're not on this side. You're not conservative. You probably wouldn't like a Republican, and that's it. And I agree so much with what you said, Shelley. I want an apology too. Because God damn it, they owe us one. They owe us an apology. And you went down the line. And one thing you left out was the stuff they did to the children, to the school, to all these the educational slide that so many children have, and nobody talks about all of the young people who unalive themselves during that time period. The unaliving, and we say this on YouTube, just how many people unalive themselves due to this scamdemic, due to the reason that they weren't around people.
Exactly.
All of this stuff that happened. We need an apology. We need you to admit you were wrong, because guess what? We can't move forward until you admit that.
He's not going to do that.
Exactly.
He would never admit he's wrong.
I like Stephen A. Smith, some of his commentary, like Bill Maher, things like I get it. But they have not, the Andrew Cuomo's, I'm going to say start with Chris Cuomo. I think he came out, quote unquote, a little bit earlier, right? Okay, fine. Again, I'm out. If they have some change of minds on some of these things, fine. But they're not finished. I want the rest of the story. Rest in peace, Paul Harvey.
That's it.
I want the rest of it on the record. Okay, get all of your media types and these journalists who are publishing everything. Get it on the record that you were wrong. Your policies have helped to destroy our country from, like you said, KJ, from education, the young people, illegal immigration, the people in the nursing homes, the scamdemics, the prosecutors that won't prosecute crime. All of these policies and more, abortion, all of them and more, economic policy. We can go down the list. There's probably every letter of the alphabet we can name a policy to it. I want it on the record. You were wrong. We were right. And then again, just put it on the record. You got a lot of journalists that are writing books and taking notes. Damn it, do your job.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Folks, if you are just joining, please hit that like button. Hit that like button. We need you to do that. It really helps to get our video out in front of more and more people. And subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that like button and subscribe. If we are your people, if this is your community, if you feel like this is where you belong, then hit that subscribe button. We are here every Wednesday night. We're here Monday night, Wednesday night, and Friday or Saturday. Mostly the time with Fridays, but yeah, we're here on those 3 days live. So definitely we encourage you to hit that notification bell so you know when we post new content. I want to actually touch on, Nicole, you brought it up, and I don't think I put it in here, but you were right about that reparations with our governor here, Wes Moore, made national news. How he has decided to veto the reparations bill, and it was actually a bill to research,
another
the idea. The study
how we can spend more money on providing some sort of reparations. So it's.
Why do you think he did it? Because I'm surprised I think it was a good idea for him to veto it, but why do you think he vetoed it?
Because he has a supermajority. So let me tell you how much of a political football this thing was. So this reparations bill, and I dragged him a little bit on the show for the last couple of 3 weeks. Make a decision, bro. What are you going to do? You going to let it die on your desk? Let it die on your desk? Let it die? I just said that for a reason, right? And the reason is Maryland's got some elections coming up, 26, right? This reparations bill is an albatross around everybody's neck. We can't afford education. We certainly can't afford reparations. Two whole different things. But from his very liberal, take from the rich, give to the poor standpoint, it was something that he wanted to sign. He wanted to sign it. Too big of a political football for Mr. Vice President wannabe. So he vetoes it because he's got the supermajority. They have more than enough votes to pass this thing to override his veto and have votes left over. That's how big of a majority they have. So he didn't lose any ground. What he did is he picked up that political football and does what he does all of the time with any difficult topic. He handed it off to somebody else. And make no mistake, they'll call a special session and they will pass this bill to provide money to study about how the state of Maryland can pay or give reparations, whether it's tax breaks, cash on hand, free college education. And we know there's nothing in this world that's free. This is them spending our future earnings. This is precisely what this bill is. But this is what he does. When I tell you guys that this guy is slick and slippery, he is slick and slippery. I'm
going to add to that, Nicole, what you're saying. I agree with everything you said. Another reason I think he did it is because in November 2024, Maryland increased the votes for narrow the gap, if you will, for Trump. So there are more voters in Maryland that are voting for Trump. He's playing the fence. He knows he can't do this because that gap was smaller. The percentage of people voting for Trump in Maryland was smaller than it had been in the past. So he has to somehow, if he wants to run for even governor again, but if he wants to run for president or vice president, he's going to need Maryland, which you probably will get, but he still needs those votes, if you will, that can ensure that he surely gets the nomination or the presidency. He thinks he's slick. He is, he tries to be slick, but he's playing a long game here.
Well, there are, the chatter online, at least, a lot of Black people, even Black people that voted for Trump, they want these reparations. There are some people who say, I think we are due reparations and I want my reparations, even if I have to pay my own reparations.
Right. And that's the point. And here's this. You tell me how much, listen, I'll give you $1 million per cotton you picked. You want reparations from 2025 Americans for injustices that did not happen to you, but to your ancestors, right? So the question then becomes, and this is the reason why the study was supposed to be held, what does reparations look like? What does that even sound like? Are you going to pass a meaningless bill like they did in California that says they're supposed to get these big checks, these ginormous checks? To do what? To crash your economy and devalue the dollar? Is that what we're doing? Because $1 million worth of nothing is still nothing, right?
They tried to do what California has done. Again, how many studies do we need to study about reparations? Even if you agree or disagree, we have enough studies, if you will, that we don't need another commission that we have to pay for. This is nothing but a racket. It's a racket. And all these people online, from the Auntie Roros and the African Diaspora Network or whatever you call it, all these people talking about these Black people, now they are anti or on Wes Moore's case. He took a political football and he just played it. That's all he did. He just played it. And like you said, if he didn't have the majority to override it, he would have signed that bill hands down.
Well, let me tell you what's going to happen. The bill is going to go back and MD Dems' plan is very smart. Their plan is, from a political standpoint, chef's kiss. They're playing it perfect. So he gets to say, oh no, we can't afford it. It's not the right time. It's not the right thing. I'm not going to sign it. He kicks it back to his supermajority. But in that time, the Black media were, Lord Jesus, he should have signed it. We voted for him and he should have signed it. So who comes to the rescue? Speaker of the House. She comes in and says, listen, we're going to sign it. And then it's happy days are here again. And look at the leadership that was shown by these Black Democrats, right? Yep. This is textbook.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Absolutely. How to scam people out of their money 101. Because again, like you said, KJ, you be paying your own self-reparations. It's coming out of your check.
Exactly. And it's going to be a whole nother DEI grift, because the whole DEI thing was about creating these consulting firms and these consultants. It was a whole big money. They got paid, and those people generally were their leftist cronies and things like that. It became a whole industry of a money pit, a money grab. And so they're doing the same thing with reparations, because with this, they'll create these, as we have here, the studies and the consultants and the people to look into the consultants and the education of it. And all of it, it becomes another grift, another money grift, a scam, as you all have mentioned, for all of us, as Black as we are, to pay our own reparations and taxes. That's what it is. And then what about the white people who have ancestors who served in the Union Army and who have people who died fighting for the equality of Black people and all this type of stuff? What, they still got to pay reparations too? It's ridiculous. It really is.
It's
a waste.
A quick way they can repair millions of people in the United States, certainly in Maryland. Why don't they go down and pass a bill to stop people having to pay Social Security, give them all their money back that they paid into it so they can invest it themselves? That will repay a whole lot of people. That will instantly make them financially viable, if you will, or economically stable in their families. Give them back all that they have paid into Social Security and all of the taxes that they have been assessed and overtaxed for. Give them back that. Oh, they wouldn't do that. That's an easy way to do it. All you got to do is pull up all the files, you get the names, and reverse every payment and send it back.
But you know what, Shelly?
They wouldn't do that.
If they did that, my first investment would be in Nike, because you know how our people do. I would invest in who's making the cute sunglasses now. They'd get a little bit of my investment money, because we are consumers. Our culture, are consumers. We'd spend our last dollar to look like we got more dollars at the house.
It's
if
terrible.
We gave people $1 million today,
It is terrible, KJ.
through
It
the
is.
weekend, people gonna be broke. Make no mistake. The plug is gonna be rolling around, making all kind of money. It is going to be ridiculous. I'm saying if we're going to have reparations, and if there's going to be a study about reparations, then it shouldn't be 15 studies about reparations. If you're going to have the study about reparations, let's wait until we can afford the education of the children that we have here now, right? Let's educate these kids first before we start digging up the skeletons of the past. It is ridiculous to me in this state where, when I tell you we don't have a way to fund this blueprint, we don't have a way to fund it. There is no funding mechanism, right? First, they said the casino money. It was in the lockbox. Well, they didn't pick the damn lock. Ain't no money in the box. There's no money in the box.
Yeah.
So how do we fund that? $90,000 a year for starting teachers. How do we fund that? You know how we fund it, KJ? Girl, write a check. Shelly, get your checkbook out. I'm going to bring my debit card, and we might be able to afford us one teacher, for one school somewhere in the state. But it's going to cost us a fortune if they don't get their heads on straight. If I were Maryland's legislature, I would say, okay, he vetoed it. We're going to leave it until we can do better. Put our kids first. Put our kids first.
And talking about putting our kids first, the best thing for Black Americans within the last, I'll say in a generation, if you really want to talk about hard facts, if you really want to talk about money in our pockets, the best thing for Black Americans in a generation has been Donald J. Trump. Okay? Donald J. Trump. When he was in office, his policies helped Black folk. It helped everybody, but Black people in particular. We had low minority unemployment and stronger wage growth before that whole COVID thing. But all of that was better than any other president within the last several years. Okay? So if you want to talk about putting money back in our pockets, let this man do what he does. Let him get hold of this economy and deregulate everything and get our education thing back on track, as long as the Congress will, do their part. That's what you need to do. Okay. But they don't want to hear that because everything they hate, they bottle up in Donald J. Trump.
Exactly.
So we will continue to talk about this and more. We have some super chatters here. So thank you all so much. Let's see here. All right. We have Freedom Doc with a $20 super chat.
Thank you.
Says,
thank
love you, ladies. True patriots. Love from Flint, Michigan. Wow. How are you doing there?
Cold.
Oh my, yeah. Thank you so much. And he joined our Freedom Seekers Club. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I was wondering where people are. I see some people are shouting out where they are. So that's very cool.
We have
so
someone
he's
from Australia, I think, on.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have that. I think I saw Trey is from Chicago, Illinois. I don't know if she said Chicago or I'm just Illinois. Oh, Utah. So the one and only Ron Don Smith, Utah, right? Oh, South Africa. Thank you for understanding and insight.
Thank
you. Yes,
you.
Indeed. Yep. Oh, Chi-Town. All right. Yes, indeed. Wendy's from Racine, Wisconsin. Oh my, nice.
Thank you all.
Nice. All right. Yes, indeed. Well, we will be back, folks, on Friday night. We'll be back on Friday night at 9 p.m. So please look out for us. Laura's in Cleveland, Ohio. All right. And let me see. I'll be here tomorrow. So tomorrow on Christian Conservative here on YouTube. That's our sister's channel here at KJ Christian Conservative. You can find me on there where I go deep or do a deeper dive in biblical solutions and the biblical context of many of the culture and politics that we're talking about. So check me out tomorrow at 9 p.m. Then on Saturday, we have Just the Guys podcast at Just the Guys podcast. You can check out on Saturday at 6:30. They provide a male point of view on these issues. Great podcast to take a look at. And then on Tuesday, you had at All American Talk, the All American Talk Show. They're on there also, counting down and doing a deep dive in the conservative culture and politics. So check them out on All American Talk right here on YouTube. All right. S-Files is in Florida. I love Florida. I wish I was there now. It's raining here.
Oh, I just said busted AC.
Oh no, busted AC. Oof. All right. Hopefully you get it fixed soon S-Files. But honestly, I would still take it there. And I hate the rain and I hate the cold.
Jessica's in South Carolina.
Oh, nice. All right. I will be in South Carolina this summer. So yes. All right. Well, thank you again, folks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Laura.
Thank you. And please, Yanni's in Virginia. All right, Virginia. Champaign, Illinois. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, you guys are from all over. Nice.
Yes, thank you.
All right. What was I gonna say?
We got North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. North Kakalaki. Yes. I'm getting hungry now. I'm thinking about all the food in these different places.
I know, right?
Minnesota. I don't know what's good in Minnesota. What food is good there?
Cheese. Wisconsin's cheese, right?
Right, Wisconsin's cheese. I do know that. North Carolina is the barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah. Washington State, Miss Jennifer. Illinois. I had that Illinois pizza Trey's chocolate. I didn't like that. I'm a New York.
I didn't like Chicago's pizza either.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Yeah, Chicago pizza.
Michigan.
It's like a casserole. Yes, Michigan in the hazy. All right. Yes, South Carolina. I can't wait. Woo.
Yes.
North Carolina. All right.
Coming through.
Yeah. Right. Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Well, if you guys have an event you want to host us, we were looking to travel this summer. So we'll bring the crowd and get a good talk going, a good event going in your area. So if you have a place in mind and you have a club and you want us to come down and really get a good podcast going, a live broadcast, let us know. You can reach us on our website and shout us out, and we'll see what we can do. That would be fun. Hotter the place, the better for me. All right. Well, that does it for us tonight. Thank you guys so much. Again, we will be back on Friday at 9 p.m. Until next time. Did I forget anything, ladies?
I think we got it all.
Okay. All right. Yes. So until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.